really pleased to be joined by Tracey Dennison, who's not only an aesthetic nurse, but she's also a mentor and coach, with a special focus on kind of, I guess, the mental aspects that go along with running a business. And Dr. Harry Singh, who speaks regularly at our events and is a trainer as well himself, but he's written a lot for Aesthetic Medicine magazine about mindset related stuff. So we're going to talk a bit this morning about fear, first of all, and managing that in the current climate. And then we're going to talk about productivity and motivation. So I'm really looking forward to starting my day with this talk. I'll be back for the questions later. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And I will hand over to Tracey, first of all.
Thanks, Vicky. That's brilliant. Right then, I've got to get the technology to work. So like Vicky said, I'm Tracey Dennison and I run East Riding Aesthetics in Beverley. And I train and mentor and coach as well. And I'm just working on sharing my screen. So bear with me a second. Is that working? I think that's working for everybody. Excellent. Right, so we've not got a huge amount of time today. So today I'm just discussing some basic principles around a positive mindset. These are the foundations of what you need. And I know for sort of the rest of today, certainly for Harry's talk and for a lot of the other events that are coming up throughout the week, there's going to be some really amazing content that's really going to be helpful to everybody. But what I want to discuss this morning is the stuff that can sort of help reduce the struggle a little bit, about getting your head in the right place to make things just flow and feel that little bit easier, so that we can sort of set ourselves up to be in a great place to build our businesses. So normally when I do these presentations, I just talk to people. I'm not a big fan of PowerPoint, but I have done one today just because I can't see faces in the room. So bear with me and my very basic graphics, but this is a tree, people. This is a tree and it's quite representative. So what I wanted to sort of explain from my tree today is at the moment we're in this environment that is completely alien to us, isn't it? It's something that we've never come across before. We keep hearing unprecedented times and our new normal, and they're all the big buzzwords at the moment, aren't they? And these can bring up certain behaviours in us that perhaps isn't normally how we would respond to things. But we have things like a lot of anxiety going on, a lot of uncertainty, quite a lot of worry, and it's normal to feel quite anxious about things at the moment. We've also got scarcity, haven't we? You know, at the moment, none of us who are clinical are being clinical. We've got lack of patients, we've got lack of income from those patients, all sorts of different things that would normally be flowing through our business to us that just isn't there anymore. We've also lost things like our sort of work colleague cohesiveness and that team spirit and all of that kind of thing that actually lifts us up and keeps us going and makes us feel a bit better. There's a lot of judgment out there at the moment, and we only need to log on to a few different forums and we can see that everywhere. People making judgments or judging their own practice. And it's not always a good thing, is it? We've got the comparisons. They're doing this. Am I doing that? Should I be doing that? Should they be doing this? All of those kind of things and the criticism that comes along with it. And it's always quite easy to criticise what we can see going on that maybe isn't at quite the same standard that we would choose to practice at, or makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable. Procrastination is another great one, isn't it? We've got all of these other things going on, and then we're thinking, but we should be doing stuff in our business, and it's time to take things maybe in a different direction or be more creative or inventive. But actually, I can't because I probably need to wash the pots, I've got some work I need to finish off, the cleaning needs to be done. I tell you, my house is never cleaner than when I am studying. It's my form of procrastination that everything has to be perfect before I sit down actually to do some work. You know, now, or maybe you're too tired, or there's the kids to look after. There's lots of different ways we procrastinate, and there's lots of lack at the moment, isn't there? There's lots of what we can't have in everyday life and in our business lives, what we can't do, where we can't go, all of that kind of thing. And that can all lead to a feeling of massive overwhelm, which can be quite paralysing and can then actually reduce our productivity to such a level that we feel swamped and we feel quite sort of disabled in what we are capable of doing. And what I think is really important to recognise is that all of these behaviours, if you really think about it and go a little bit deeper with why we are behaving like this, or why we may be behaving like this, they are all rooted in fear. And it's actually normal for us to feel quite scared at the moment because there's so much uncertainty and all of these other things going on. But we've got fear of judgment, fear of criticism, fear of failure, fear of not coping, fear that our businesses won't fly again when we can get back on track. There's all of these different behaviours, feelings are rooted in fear, and it's really important to recognise that. Add to the fear all the environmental noise that we've got going on at the moment from the very beginning, when we couldn't get toilet roll in the shops and we were worried about what we wouldn't be able to buy, we wouldn't have stuff to eat, all of that kind of thing. The fact that we're now, some of us homeschooling our kids, or trying to, my sympathies go out to everybody because it's not easy. We're being told by social media, by the press, everywhere on the news, how it's really tough, it's really stressful. And for those of us who are still working in the NHS, or who've gone back to the NHS at this time, we're being built up as heroes, and that we're doing amazing things. And actually that in its own way creates its own stress and can create all of these things combined, this environment where we're being told it's terrible, it's stressful, we're all struggling, it must be really hard for you, I don't know how you're coping. All of these messages are coming across to us right at this moment in time that actually makes things really quite difficult for us to be productive. And what you generally find is, this is just basic science, isn't it? If you take something that is rooted in fear, like all of these behaviours and all of these emotions, and you focus on that, what you're going to get is more fear. It's physics, isn't it? You're just going to increase what it is that you are focusing on. You're just going to get more scarcity, more lack, more procrastination, more judgment, more fear. And
they can't see your slides.
They can't. Oh, okay.
I just lost it for a minute.
Right. Is it back, or is there anything there now, Harry?
No.
Can you see anything? No, nothing.
Still just you.
Okay. Don't quite know what to do. Which slide did we get to?
The tree with the fear.
The tree with the fear, right, okay. I tell you what, if I stop sharing and then try and come back on to share where I am now, if it doesn't work, I'll just talk. People will just have to cope with my talking.
Yeah, that's
okay. When we're back, all right. So maybe if I just flick through the slides on the side, that might be better. It is that visible enough for everybody?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, that's great. I've got nothing else flying in, so we'll be absolutely fine. So this was just my slide to demonstrate that if we take fear and focus on fear, all we're going to do is make the fear bigger. It's basic science, isn't it? And what we need to do is choose a different option, and we do have a choice, and it can take a little while to sometimes get your head around the whole principle that despite what I'm being told by social media, despite what the news, the Prime Minister, whoever else is telling me what the environment is like at the moment, I can choose how I perceive it, and I can choose differently. So if we focus on fear and get more fear, if instead we focus on something beautiful or joyous, we are going to get more beauty. We are going to see the better side of things. We will see more detail in this beautiful flower that looks lovely from a distance, and close up, the intricacies, the detail is there, and you see more and more beauty, don't you? And we need tools to do this. It's not just a case of somebody saying, actually, you're focusing on the wrong thing. We need to focus on something different. But it is about choosing to focus on the positive side of things. So the principles that we've got here is that wherever you throw your focus is what you are going to create more of. And so you need to choose what will serve you. And therefore, we need to pick out different tools that can help us on a day-to-day basis. And this will help you in your business. It will also help you as an individual. And what it's all about really is finding your joy. If we can find ways to weave happiness and weave joy into our everyday life, doesn't mean that we're ignoring the bits that are terrible. And there are some bits that are terrible, and there is some horrendous tragedies and sadness going on in the world at the moment. But there are options to weave happiness into our life. So we can do things like listen to music. I often belt out the tunes in my car on the way to work in the morning. I wouldn't want anybody else to hear me sing, but it makes me feel happy. Sorry, can everybody hear this all right? I could hear something coming through.
No, it's all perfect.
It's all good, is it? Brilliant. So yeah, so sing if it makes you happy, if it lights you up, if it lifts you, if it brings you joy. Do a bit of boogieing, dance in the kitchen with the kids when you're getting breakfast ready. Find time. It doesn't have to be a big event. Just need a few seconds woven throughout the day to find stuff that makes you happy. Exercise is a massive one for me. I've really struggled with only being able to go out once a day for exercise because I quite like to run, and the kids hate running, so I've been sort of saving my exercise sessions to go out walking with them to get them out of the house. But I've really struggled myself with not being able to physically move as much as I would normally like to do. Meditation is a great one, just for quieting the mind. Journaling is another tool that is really good. If you've got a lot going on in your head and there's a lot that feels that it's sort of bubbling up, write it down, and then you can put that away and move it, because it's not really serving you. We can spend time with friends virtually at the moment. We can spend time with family. We can find things that bring us joy. And it is about sort of seeking out your joy at the moment. It's really important to do. And it's simple things like if you get caught up in stuff so much that you feel you're on a very negative downward focus, set reminders on your phone to do something small, to take a couple of minutes just to be outside, enjoy the sunshine if it's there, that kind of thing. This in itself is really, really powerful. It's not just about making you smile. What this does is lifts people's vibration. It creates a positive point of attraction in so much as if you're miserable and you're low and you're down, people are not attracted to you in the sense that they perhaps will pick up on that and they might avoid spending time with you. Whereas if you have spent time looking after yourself, making sure that you're doing things to bring yourself some joy each day, even if it's difficult in other parts of the day, what you do is then create an environment which is better for you and it's better for the people around you. So this serves you in your personal life, but it serves you massively in your business life as well. So these are, so we've not got long today, so just some very basic principles about how you can look to weave these little ideas into your life on an everyday basis to improve and lift yourself and do the things that light you up. So these are just my little mindset hacks. Optimize your environment. Try and focus on the positive things. Focus on the things that you want, or the things that you enjoy and your joy, but not focusing on fear or scarcity or lack. And it's not ignoring the bad things that are going on at the moment, but it's finding that balance and trying to tip things onto a more positive side. So find your joy. Weave it into your everyday life and make it a habit. Making joy a habit is such a powerful tool. It's so simple that it sounds too easy almost, but try it. Honestly, it is the most powerful thing you can do, and it will help reduce the struggle for everything else that's going on in your life. Particularly at the moment, establish a routine. If you aren't working regularly at the moment, still try and create yourself with that routine. We are creatures of habit. We like routine. It makes us feel better. It creates us some security. And on the same sort of tone, really, create certainty. We need to have anchors, security and growth. So that can be a routine, or it can be a jobs list of this is what I'm going to achieve this day, this week. But do the things that then you can have some certainty around, some control over, because that actually really does help us. And at times of great uncertainty, we need that more than ever. And if you do all that and get your environment right, rather than, I don't know if you saw the barren tree, but I'll flick back. So the barren tree, with all of those things in the branches of the fear and the procrastination and the scarcity and lack, it's not going to produce us any fruit, is it? It's not going to create us a good environment. But if you create the right environment, you get a fruitful tree. So that's my little analogy for the day. So my message for the day really is try and find your joy each day and weave that into what you are doing, and it will pay dividends both in your business and in your personal life. And just for my final little bit, I hope I've not gone over, but just different ways for people to keep in touch with me. So you can find me on Facebook. I do have a group that you can join. If you've got any questions that come up after this event, feel free to email me. I do have books and courses out there like lots of other people, but it's always lovely to hear from people. So if you do have questions and want to keep in touch, it would be great to hear from you. Is that okay?
Thank you so much, Tracy. That was fantastic, and I think some good tips for all of us. And we'll come back to questions at the end. So when Harry's done his presentation, we will have questions for both of you. Do you mind just switching your video off now whilst Harry's
Sure.
on? I think last time I could see him bigger than I could see you until we did.
Oh.
So we'll both be back at the end for the questions.
Hang on, how do I switch my video off?
Underneath, I will message you.
Okay.
Privately. Okay.
Oh, hang on, I've got it. Yeah.
Okay. Just it's quite quickly. Just gonna open it. Does it sound better there?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, Tracy. Couple of points. If I started dancing when I'm making my kids breakfast, I think that will put them in a negative mindset for the rest of the day. They'll be scarred, except for there. And as you can see from my office, I think I need you to come to my house to start cleaning me, organising my stuff. There. So can you see my screen and slides?
Can't see the screen, Harry.
Okay.
Got it now.
And the slides?
Yeah.
Thank you. There. Okay, so I'm going to talk about mindset, going on from what Tracey was saying, and also productivity. So thank you for giving up your hour for this presentation. Little introduction at the beginning, talking about mindset, productivity, what you can do right now, because now is the time to maximize, optimize, capitalize on the opportunities, and then Vicky will open the floor for questions at the end. So I'm Dr. Harry Singh, was a dentist, do facial aesthetics, and run a training company, DTC. As a reward for logging in, for being first in the morning, if you go to my website, you can download this free guide on turbo boosting your profits from aesthetics. So it's botulinumtoxinclub.co.uk, and those are my Facebook, Instagram handles. So botulinumtoxinclub.co.uk for the free guide. Okay, so let's have a look at mindset. So as Tracey was alluding to, obviously fear, you're looking at what everyone else is doing. So the only competition you have got is competition with yourself. And I talk about Facebook being fake book. People only put their best cases on, best treatments, etc. And you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. This is the importance of mindset. If you've got no skill set, wrong mindset, there's not going to be much hope for you. But if you've got the right skill set but the wrong mindset, you're going to be upset. You're never going to be happy with what you're achieving. No skill set and the right mindset, you will have some success, but it will be limited. But together with the skill set and the right mindset, but taking action, you've got guaranteed success. So everything starts with why. Why do you want to get involved in aesthetics? Why do you want to open a business? So we know success is not a straight line. You are going to have peaks and troughs, obstacles. If you're getting into the business for the wrong reason, or you've got the incorrect mindset, you're going to give up at the first hurdle. If you've got the correct mindset, you'll see the obstacles as opportunities. One of my mentors said to me years ago, it's not what happens to you that's important, it's how you react to what happens to you. So, for example, in this phase now, a lot of people in lockdown saying, okay, I see it on Facebook, what Netflix series do you recommend? They've been binge watching. I've actually been busier during this lockdown than I was pre-lockdown. I've had time to work on my operations manual, time to work on my business. So it's actually maximised opportunity. And as Tracey said, you've got time for exercise. We were talking to Vicky before. You've got more time to exercise. A lot of people getting good habits and hobbies. This is how important mindset is. My kids are 12, 14, about 5 years ago. I bought in these 2 books, and I always start with Mind Power. So if you have got these are really fantastic books, because strategies, tactics, the skills anyone can teach and they can pick up. It's the mindset. If they haven't got the correct mindset, it's going to be a waste of time, waste of money. So change your mind, change your life. So let's have a look at the psychology of success. So I call it the Frankenstein mind. As Tracey said, fear, scarcity, you're going to sabotage everything. So the mind is there to protect you. It always says, why should I do it? It's why should I not do it? The objections. So you do not want the Frankenstein mindset. You want the Einstein mindset. Positive focus, positive imagination. How can I do it? As I said, turn obstacles into opportunities. So there's 2 mindsets people have, fixed and the growth. So the fixed one is like the Frankenstein. They say it's never going to work, going to be negative, but also they rely on talent. So it's been interesting studies. Do you need talent, or do you need something called grit or hard work? And a lot of people think you need it, obviously a combination of both, but which is more dominant? There's a little bit of talent you do need. There's grit and mindset that makes successful people. We all know loads of talented people that haven't made it work. So, for example, John McEnroe was talented to some extent, but he did have a fixed mindset. So when it wasn't going his way, he would shout at the umpire, break his racket, shout at his opponent. And later on, he said, because he was insecure, he had a negative mindset, he had to distract. And there's a famous story where he was, I think it was the French Open, he was playing against Ivan Lendl. He was 2-0 up, just needed one more set to win the championship. He lost 3-2, and he blamed the photographer, saying, oh, the flashlight caught my eye. Obviously, the flashlight is not going to affect him for 3 whole sets, but he was blaming everyone else. So what we want is the growth mindset, positivity, that we can grow, we can have habits. As I keep on saying, it's not obstacles, it's opportunities. So a fixed mindset would say, can I do it? What happens if I fail? I don't call failure, I call it setbacks, and you learn more from your setbacks than your positive wins. It would be easy if it's talents today, obviously saying it's not down to them, it's out of their control, it's not my fault, it's someone else's fault. So the growth mindset is the complete opposite. I can do it. I need to learn. Time is. I always say it's not you're not after perfection, but progress. So, for example, if you were driving into work once the lockdown is over, no one sits in their car on their driveway and says, "I'm not leaving unless the traffic lights are all green." You're going to get red traffic lights, roundabouts, diversions. Traffic is how you deal with it. So you want progress, not perfection. As I said, you get failures along the way. It's more feedback. They have passion and they take responsibility. And so if you do get these negative thoughts, negative mindset, then I like to use the strategy called WHOOP. So what do you want to wish for when you do get a negative mindset? What's the wish you want? What's the outcome you want? What's the obstacle you need to face? And what's the plan you need to do to get over that obstacle? So what do you want to wish? What's the outcome you want? What's the obstacle you need to face? And have a plan in action. There's a grit scale. So this is quite good. Angela Duckworth actually found out about it only last week when I was researching for the content for this presentation. So I've ordered a book via Amazon, but she has a free tool on her website. So if you just Google Angela Duckworth, the grit scale, it will show you how much grit you have. And she used to work with the Marines and the SAS in terms of what they found. They were doing the wrong types of tests. So people were physically fit, intelligent, but a lot of them weren't going on to SAS or the military or whatever boot camp they have. So they changed it to grit because they found the people with the highest grit scores finished the program, completed the program. So what you want to do is improve your grit score, which can be improved. So Angela Duckworth, grit scale, get the book and also do the free assessment online. So the second part I want to talk about is productivity. So we have in the Western world, we have watches, but no one knows what the time. So stay in the present. So instead of looking at goals or to-do lists, because I used to do this, at the end of the day, completed 30 tasks, but it's nowhere near the project I wanted to complete. So replace goals and to-do lists with outcome. What is the outcome you want to achieve? We were talking to Tracey and Vicky. Tracey loves running. So I did the Berlin Marathon a few years ago. And the goal was, or the outcome was to lose weight. And the goal was to complete the Berlin Marathon, which I did. But I didn't lose weight. So it was a good goal, but I didn't achieve my outcome because when I was training for the marathon, everyone said you need to eat loads of carbs. I was eating pasta, naan breads, poppadoms, pizza, etc. And I actually put on weight. So it was a good goal, but I never achieved my outcome. So always look at outcome instead of goals. So I call it the 3D formula. So everyone obviously says we haven't got enough time, there's too much stuff going on. So follow the 3D formula. So you know your outcome, any activity, email, phone call, request that comes to you, if it doesn't serve your outcome, the first D you have to do is dump it. You have to become a master of saying no, because every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. We have limited time. So if it doesn't serve my purpose, my outcome, whatever I'm working on, I will say no, dump it. If it does serve your outcome, then follow the second D, which is delegate it. I'm very good at delegation. There's not much stuff I actually do. My wife hates this. She thinks I'm lazy. So for example, when I'm doing my courses, someone else does the emails, registration, someone else books the venue, the catering. The only thing I do is do the slides and turn up and talk. So if someone else can do it, delegate it. And in the third D, do it. Only do the stuff that only you can do. So if you're a clinician that can only do advanced procedures in your business, only stick to that. If someone else could do the simple treatments, lip fillers example, give it to someone else. So first D, dump it if it doesn't serve your outcome. Second D, delegate it if it does serve your outcome. And the third D, finally do it. So a lot of people, this is like me and my wife, always on our phones, especially before you go to sleep. So I have a couple of things. One, I have a visual turn off. So 1 hour before I'm going to sleep, I have a visual turn off. Turn off all blue screens, computers, TVs, mobile devices. Studies have shown it will affect your sleep. Also, I have a notepad. So what I do is write down the most important task I need to do for the next day. Write it down because your subconscious mind will remember it, and you will think of your best ideas in the middle of your night. Keep that notepad next to you and your pen or pencil, because my best ideas do come in the middle of the night. Because I've written the 5 things I want to focus on the next day, my mind subconsciously thinks about solutions to those problems. Always remember tomorrow. My personal trainer always says this to me, always remember tomorrow. So let's say I'm trying to lose weight and I open the fridge door and I see a cake. If I eat that cake, how will I feel tomorrow? If I don't eat that cake, how will I feel tomorrow? Because if I do eat the cake, I'm going to feel guilty. I've given in, demotivated. Same again, shouting at your kids, shouting at your partner, not doing that extra email, not doing that blog, not ringing up that patient. How will that make you feel tomorrow? So always remember tomorrow. So technology can be against us, but it can be for you. So a couple of free apps that I use. The first one is Eat That Frog by Tracey. He talks about eating a frog for breakfast. Obviously, don't literally eat a frog for breakfast, but if you can eat a frog for breakfast, anything you taste for the rest of the day will taste a lot better. So what he says is get rid of your worst task, the one you've been putting off the longest first, and then anything else you do during the day will be a lot easier. And I used to be like most people, leave it till the end. Your energy, your concentration, motivation will be best first thing in the morning. Do your worst task, everything else will feel a lot easier. The second app is something called Focus Keeper. So a lot of people get distracted. They think they're doing work. And so I use this in 2 ways. So let's say I need to write an article for Vicky. I'm going to allow 45 minutes. So I'm going to put the timer for 45 minutes. In that 45 minutes, I have to finish the task and I cannot be distracted. So I cannot look at my emails, cannot go on YouTube and watch cat videos, cannot go to the toilet, cannot make myself a cup of tea. You'll be so surprised how hard it is to sit down, focus for 45 minutes, and also how much you can actually achieve in 45 minutes. Because if I don't do that, I could spend 2 hours, but out of that 2 hours, I might be only working for half an hour doing the article. And if I only spend half an hour, Vicky would send it back saying it's rubbish, do it again, Harry. So, third part and final part, what can you do right now? And I talk about the 3 V's. Visible, be valuable, so you're not vulnerable. So let's look at the first V, visible. So don't bury your head in the clouds. So what we've been doing is visible. First, I've been updating all the contact details. Patients have got time in their hands if they're not working, they've been furloughed. I say, are these your correct details? Because a lot of people have moved, changed their numbers. I'm going to get the correct details, email addresses. Communicate on a regular basis, which I'm going to talk about on the valuable slide. Be current, be updated. What's happening with the government? What's the news? I try not to watch too much news because it's all negative, but keep current so you can be visible, but also be current in your patient's eyes, which comes onto the valuable part. So this is what I've been doing personally. Zoom question and answers with my patients. We all know about Zoom now. So any questions they may have about facial aesthetics, toxin treatments, filler treatments, skin treatments, keep in contact makes you stand out. I've been writing regular blogs more than normal. So we used to do 2 newsletters, blogs per month. I've been doing 1 every week, saying, okay, we're keeping up to date, PPE equipment we've been ordering. Take a funny picture of you with these masks and look like a beekeeper. Add some humor. I've been doing webinars, for example, obviously like this, but also for my patients, educational webinars. Now I've got the time. Lead generation, while everyone is inactive, or being in reactive stage, we're being proactive. So we're actually doing Facebook sponsored ads, Instagram ads, advertising for patients in our area. Been doing videos, so we never had time to do frequently asked question videos, so we've been doing that, but also doing live videos, answering patients' questions, keeping up to date. We've been doing Facebook, Instagram lives. So Instagram lives have worked really well because you can repurpose it, record the video, resend it out. So we did, I did 3 Instagram lives, 1 on toxin treatments, 1 on dermal fillers, 1 on skin treatments. Just keeps you in the eye of the patient. And I call it TOMA, T-O-M-A, top of mind awareness, because if they're not thinking of you, they're going to be thinking of someone else. So then you don't become vulnerable. So if you're visible and valuable, you're not going to become vulnerable. Gift vouchers, we obviously understand patients may be having cash flow issues, so we may be giving them a discount of the first course of treatment. Package treatments into bundles because your patients are either in toxin, skin and dermal fillers. Same again, cost may be a problem, so we just bundle it so it makes it a little bit cheaper, more investable. But also we've been having a waiting list for our VIP patients. We've called it a VIP waiting list. We actually sent the email out yesterday, and we must have had about 220 patients say on the VIP list. So they make them feel important, and also we got data, but also it helps you for stock, because if you've got 200 patients coming in all for toxin, you want to make sure you've got your toxin or dermal fillers available. So it helps us order our stock take. As Tracey said, don't come from a place of fear, come from a place of positivity. People are going to have trigger events. People are going to be getting graduated, changing jobs, looking for a new career. Weddings are going to be back on the market. Anniversaries, people are going to be celebrating. Remarriage if they've been in lockdown with their partner and got a divorce. Sale of business, retirement. All these people are going to be looking for your services. So get ready for the post-boom lockdown. Okay, that is me done. So I'm just going to end sharing. And hand over back to Vicky.
Hello, thank you so much. That was really great. And I'll get Tracey to come back on as well. Tracey, can you put your video? They're wonderful. There you are. Thank you both so much. I really enjoyed both of those talks. And actually, you know, I think while you're both specialists in aesthetics, it's really relevant, isn't it, to anything that people are doing or any business people are running. And I'm going to see if we've got some questions in the side. Someone said, are we allowed to offer vouchers? Thought it was not allowed as it entices treatments. So I guess they're referring to, I suppose, the maybe not offering vouchers for
so any POMs
treatments.
Yeah, so any POMs don't offer, that's illegal to offer any incentives or discounts on POMs. But any non-POMs, so your skin treatments, etc., is perfectly fine.
Okay, wonderful. And someone said, can you do these videos lead magnet and not advertise as a doctor in this way? I'm not really sure what they mean. I guess, again, we're talking about prescription. So, again, you're not really talking about doing advertising for the POM side of things, but for the other treatments that you offer.
Yeah, so like anti-wrinkle treatments, we use various different other products and we classify them as anti-wrinkle. But yeah, obviously toxin treatments, POMs, you cannot do a hormone replacement, IVN vitamins, etc. Then obviously, no advertising of those.
Okay, wonderful. So one of the things I wanted to ask was, you know, obviously you've both got into the mindset side of things. Have you found that that's really helped you with your business? Because quite often I think we don't think as business owners coming from a medical backgrounds, I don't, you know, it's a transition, isn't it, coming from either being in the NHS and coming into business. Have you found that getting into all of the mindset side of things has really helped you running your business?
I'll let Tracey answer first.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure, Vicky. Without a doubt, I had my business running for a few years before I sort of started really looking at the self-development side of things. And honestly, I got it the wrong way round. Had I started with the self-development and the mindset side of things, I'd have done. I mean, I was steady and I was doing okay as a business. Once I really began to understand mindset as a subject and as a science, the business began to fly. So yes, absolute massive. It's the foundation of everything. And like I said, it takes away. It doesn't make everything easy, but it helps to reduce the struggle. And what it also really, really does is give you the tools that are your safety net when you do hit the struggle, which is really important. So it's about having the tools to bring you back up once you've started going down and knowing how to manage that. Would you agree, Harry?
Yeah, perfect. And like you, I was all about learning, skills, strategy, and mindset came later on. And yeah, it's helped me on my business importantly, and I teach it to all my delegates, but also in terms of hiring team members. I always use the phrase, hire on attitude, you can always train on skill. And that the same applies to us as well. Attitude is the most important thing. Skills, technical bit, anyone can learn. It's this mindset and the attitude that's make the biggest difference.
100%. And interestingly, Harry, when you're talking about, I've heard about the eating the frog thing before, which always sounds really weird, but it's a really key thing to do, isn't it, to kind of tackle those tasks? I think, Tracey, you talked about procrastination, and I think so many of us, particularly at the moment where we're under a lot of emotional strain and mental strain, people are feeling a lot of fear around the future. It's easier, almost, you feel like you've got a lot done if you just do lots of the little tasks that aren't so, but actually in terms of your productivity, tackling the big tasks first is something that can be really, really helpful. Do you find that with this sort of stuff, even those small shifts, so even if you just took on doing one of these things, could make a real difference and could encourage you to then implement some more? If people were going to start with one thing first, what would you say?
I would say, eat the frog. Actually, probably I would say, well, actually no, I'd say probably the focus keeper, the strict time. Because I've been reading this book called Deep Work, and we're getting so many distractions, and we get as much information in one day than someone did 300 years ago in their whole lifetime. So it's getting distracted. So focus keeper start, and I started with 15 minutes, because I thought, okay, I can do 45 minutes. But the guy who told me about it said, no, start with 15 minutes. And you'll be surprised how hard it is to sit at your desk for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Don't look at social media, don't look at email, etc. The other thing, I've got different apps, self-control on my thing.
I need that.
And that blocks all social media and YouTube. And you set it a timer for, like, say, half an hour. You cannot access any of the social media and stuff. But no, I would say, the focus keeper, get into the habit of being focused. Because if you can discipline and increase it from 15 to 20, 25, then everything else will come in terms of progress.
Fantastic. Tracey, what about you? If you were going to start with one thing from the list of things you suggested, what would yours be?
I'd have to go back to the joy every time. Find one thing in your day that lights you up, and do that, and just make it a habit. For me, if you've found something that does light you up, that does motivate you, that does make you happy, then that makes everything else so much easier to manage, and it actually makes your environment so much better for everybody else around you as well. So for me, that is the biggest thing.
I think one of the other things I gained from what both of you said, and something that I do as well that's really important for me, I write in my spare time a mindfulness and wellbeing blog. So this subject is something I'm really personally interested in. But it's that kind of, I think we can all get so busy these days and so focused on our career and our business, and that is a huge part of life. But I think what I got from both of you as well is making time for yourself. So making time for things like you both mentioned, fitness and things like that. Do you think that sometimes people think, well, I don't have time for that, so I'm just going to focus everything on my business? Do you think that if we make time for that, we actually end up being more productive?
For me, totally. At the moment, actually, my son is just finishing his second year at university. He's doing very clever things that are way above my head. But he was on a last minute push to get a load of assignments in. And I was trying to persuade him to, he's a footballer, so he's not playing at the moment, but just trying to persuade him to get himself out for some exercise, because he was really struggling with the work that he was having to do, and I don't have the time, and I've not got all the information I need. It was like, just take a break, go and have some fun, 10 minutes, half an hour, and you'll be so much more productive when you come back to it. So for me, yes, I think so. What do you reckon, Harry?
Yeah, I followed the 8-8-8. So you got 8 hours to sleep, 8 hours to do your job, and 8 hours determines the quality of your life.
Oh, lovely. I like
That's
that.
good. I like that.
And also, it's making an appointment with yourself. So I've got a rigid timetable because one of my ex-business coaches was in the army. And so 9 to 10 is reading time, 4 to 5 is exercise time. And it's like a meeting with yourself. So you don't cancel meetings with other people. So you don't cancel a meeting with yourself, and nothing else. It took a while to do it because you could always say, I've got this email or task to do. But set your alarm. If you've got 4 o'clock exercise, set your alarm 4. That's your 1 hour meeting with yourself.
I really agree with that. And a lot of the things that both of you have said, I do like a day planner. And I found during lockdown, that's been really useful for me. And I love using like coloured pens and doing a bit of a chart. But I do the same thing where I schedule myself in time where I've kind of given myself permission, I suppose, because I think a lot of us feel guilty if we're not working 20, at every waking hour. But I find the same, that if I allow myself those little breaks, that actually I'm more productive when I do come back, because I've given my brain a little bit of a chance to rest. And I think it's really, really key. If there's no more questions from the audience, which I don't think there is, but we've got some lovely comments. I think people really enjoyed what you both had to say this morning. We've reached 10:45, so thank you both. Any final thoughts before we go?
Actually, when you're running on the show, always have a notepad, because your best ideas come when you're not thinking about the project. So you find that, Tracey, when you're running, you can think of your best ideas.
Yeah, they all come into your head, and then you can't write them down, can you?
Forget about them.
I had one whilst meditating yesterday, and then when I finished, I thought, oh, what was that idea I had? I couldn't remember it. Lovely. Well, thank you both so much. It was a really great session. I really enjoyed it, and hopefully see you soon when we're all out of lockdown.
Fingers crossed. Thank you so much. It's been great to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, Harry.
Bye.
Bye.
You too.